About what his vision is, his journey through football, and where he'd like it headed. So, I know some of you have got a lot of things to do today, so we'll get straight into the program. As you're aware, CAF has also insisted that when the teams start, we must have like a female side, to play in the league. And we've got people who have witnessed firsthand the growth of female football in the country, and those are some of the pillars that Tom Alila will be telling us about a little later on. So we've got two gentlemen. Mshabaza sausage, muko sawa? Ambia mdosi hapa asante kwa sausage. So there's Levi and Liki, so I'll call Liki first to come and tell us what he has done, what he is doing, what he envisions for the future, and his involvement in female football. Makofi kwake.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Liki. I'm the executive director at Kisbed Queens. So basically, Kisbed Queens is a women football club. Currently, we are promoted to Women Premier League. So one thing I would love to emphasize or talk about is the dynamics that revolves around women football. For instance, we have scenarios of lack of equal space compared to the women league. One thing I will ask the incoming president also to focus on is the aspect of equality. For instance, you can look at that in the voting in terms of the delegates. We realize that all the men Premier League, all the teams within the men Premier League wanna vote, which is very different in the women's space. All the leagues within the women's space have only slot of five votes. So that's a big challenge that if you look at the constitutional, that women have not been given that equal right as men. Another thing that I want to emphasize is the aspect of structures and infrastructure. That is much needed within the women's space, so that we can build our capacity in terms of marketing, in terms of putting our visibility for the league. So I think, President, that is another thing that we also need to focus on, so that we build the structures and the infrastructure of the women clubs. Another thing is the aspect of branding and marketing is not there basically for women, and that has contributed to lack of visibility for the women football or women league in the country. We talk about the aspect of resources. If you look at the funding modules or the sponsorship kind of thing, you realize that priority goes to the men side compared to women's side. So those are the things that are the conversation that we need to have and look on how that we can build on them. And I think, Mr. Alila, when you take that opportunity, those are the things that you'll have to focus on. So one is to create equality for both league, because we are playing the same league. It's a Premier League. Another thing is to make sure that there's that capacity support on building of the infrastructure and structure for the women league. Also look on the aspect of the marketing and branding for the women league, and also looking at the aspect of sponsorship and resources for the women league. So that's all I can say, and I wish you all the best in the coming election.
A round of applause for him. You've heard there's a lot of complaints in how football is being run in the country, and President Tom Alila has said, hakuna kulia na Alila. Semeni hakuna kulia na Alila. Hakuna kulia na Alila. So, there's another gentleman who's going to come and speak, but I'll just take you back in time when we were kids, and I was a kid a long time ago, maybe the Rocho and one or two other people. You were also a kid once upon a time. It's a very long time ago, though. We had celebrated footballers in the estate. There's one child who would be a commentator. Another one would pretend he's recording with his hands. You know, you hold your hand like this as a camera. We inspired kids to want to be footballers. The days of Peter Dow. You remember all those people? So we've lost that gradually over time, and it's because of poor resource management, not nurturing talent, and all these things that when Tom becomes president, he will tackle immediately so that we can have a league worth watching. So someone else who's going to come and speak is Levi. Is it Levi or Levi? Or Ulevi. You just left out the U. Makofi kwake. You'll introduce yourself and what you do.
Well, thank you. My name is Levi, or Levi, as you may call it, Juma. I currently serve as the chairperson of Kisumu All Starlets. And Kisumu All Starlets is a women Premier League side based in Kisumu County. And one of the most important things for this particular occasion is to look at how can we build a brand around women football, not per se around women Premier League, but women football in general. And for this particular purpose, I'd like to reinforce what my colleague Liki has mentioned. When we are speaking about women football, we are speaking about resource allocation, we are speaking about identity, and we're also looking at the management structures for women football. And for this particular purpose, for me, I'll be very clear in terms of all the teams that are playing in the different leagues have no value for playing in them because there is no cash prize. Actually, you spend more than you receive, and most of it is coming from friends, well-wishers, and yourself. So you find yourself going into your pocket more than you can support or sustain the team. So we are looking at how can we provide sustainability for our teams, and notably the biggest conversation is also around when you look at most women teams, they are run by men. How can we also have that gender factor within the spaces where women football is? So it's important to reiterate that and also just build the management. Then secondly, I'm looking at the welfare of our players. And for the welfare of our players, we are looking at how can they be remunerated. You remember earlier, even what Nick has mentioned in terms of when they were kids. But now we are looking when we had football in Kenya, then with the sponsorship of Super Sport and the likes. That visibility was broad. Why can we not replicate that to women football sides? And notably, that visibility in terms of even TV airtime. We are not supposed just to be curtain raisers, which is done most of the time, that girls teams are for curtain raisers, but just having us equal with them. Then the other thing when I'm speaking about management of teams, you are all aware that as of this season, all the teams need to have women's sides. And we've seen issues of male teams just trying to onboard active women teams that are there. Why can't we just reinforce the aspect of this structure being from the lowest level of youth teams, not just onboarding teams to tick the box, the criteria of CAF. Uko na timu ya vulana, uko na wanawake, uko na vijana. It is just nothing that is short of nothing that is required. So it's just important to reiterate that. And finally, what I'll implore to the incoming president is how do we structure the management or the competition of women leagues? Because that structure is not there. This is just left to the behest of the federation. Can we delink the secretariat and the competitions? That is what I will stress much. Thank you.
A round of applause for him. He has articulated some of the things he'd like done for female football in the country. But can you imagine if all that vision that he has and shares based on being from the ground coming up, we all implemented it? There's one man who wants to do it, and we will listen to him in a few minutes. But first, if you're a friend of the presidential candidate, Tom Alila, and you'd like to say something, I will nominate someone. He's a legend. He's in the football space. He commentates. And it would be nice if one day we as Kenyans, because the English Premier League are also humans like us. What's so special about them that we can't have our own celebrations, our own celebrity footballers, our own children looking up to Mr. Japheth Olo somewhere in Homa Bay? So Arocho, I know you didn't wear your suit today, but it's okay. We'll ignore that. Please come and say something. Or we bring the mic to you. Okay. Unajua mtu amesimika hivi, you bring the mic to you.
Thank you very much, Nick. Well, I have nothing much to say. Basically, the game is in tatters at the moment. Kenyan soccer is a shame, for lack of a better word. So, for the guys who are contesting, all the best, and I believe that they're going to give the game a new face. So, other than that, Alila has been a friend for some time. I wish him all the best in his quest to be the next FK president. Thank you.
I bet you didn't know Arocho knows English. Who else? I nominate someone from this table. You've watched football in Kenya. Maybe just your opinion real quick. Who? The man in the nice suit. People in suits normally have very nice opinions, by the way.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. What I want to also only wish for Tom is you're going to change the football face. Yes, we have a lot of talents back there in the village. They are not tapped because the face of the football actually in a terrible mess. And Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, as I say, we wish you all the best. And I'm sure Kenya is going to see the wisdom that you have for the football and definitely the knowledge of the football, and you're going to change the face of the football. Thank you so much, and thank you for this quest, because you're going to make it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a short, maybe 10-15 minute break, and then we'll invite the president to be Tom Alila. Hakuna kulia. Alila. Mumekuwa samosa hapa. Na urudishe mkono. Hakuna kulia. Alila. Yeah, you're on the right path. Alex, ndio hizo sausages hapa. So DJ, please give us some music as we wait for one or two friends to arrive. And then President Tom Alila will tell us more about accountability. Ojode. I want to speak both names. Introduce yourself using both names. There's a lady or two here who might want plus your phone number.
Thank you so much. Chris Ojode, the chairman for the organizing committee of this great event. I want to thank you all for coming here to help us unveil our candidate, Mr. Tom Otieno Onyango Alila, for FKF President 2024-2029. Let's put our hands together as we welcome Tom. Yeah.
When a president is coming, how do you clap? 1, 2, 3. Makofi anapokuja kwenye jukwaa ni kiongozi wa masuala ya kandanda nchini Kenya, Bwana mtukufu Rais Thomas Onyango Alila. Hello? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of Football Kenya Federation and fellow football enthusiasts and distinguished guests, thank you for gathering here today. I know my candidature has been an issue for the press. That's why all the people I invited were press. They've been doubting whether I'm going for this full hog. But now I wanted to speak to them so that they can know that I'm in this game till the end. So I stand before you not just as an aspirant, Football Kenya Federation President, but as a passionate advocate for the beautiful game that unites us all. We are all here to chart a new course for football in Kenya, a course defined by our shared value, transparency and accountability. My vision for the Federation is clear: to create football landscape where every player, coach, referee, fan, partners, and every stakeholder feels valued and empowered. Together we can elevate the game from the grassroots to elite level, ensuring that football in Kenya thrives today and the generations to come. So I'll just now speak about the pillars that I stand for. I've said that transparency is the bedrock of any successful organization. I pledge to ensure that our operations are open, accountable, and accessible to everyone. We will implement regular public reporting on financial activity, decision-making, processes, and governance. You've been knowing that the Federation is lacking hygiene. There is no transparency, and that's what people keep on complaining about. So transparency is key in one of my pillars, so that everything that we are doing in football is transparent and accountable. We must also trust within our communities, where every stakeholder can now see the decisions that are made, where resources are allocated. We have been having problems again with resource allocation, where football, the monies that are coming from FIFA, they are normally relocated to other areas, and it's now slowing down the development of the game in Kenya. I pledge a leadership where rules and regulations are respected and adhered to for a section of industry players, but for all regardless of varying stances and opinions. I think this has been one of the key issues with Arocho. As a sports journalist, he's been talking about, he said that the football now is at crossroads, and everybody can see, for the first time, Harambee Stars is now the second time Harambee Stars is going to play in Uganda with Cameroon.
without funds. Kenyan funds are locked out because we don't have proper facilities that are CAF approved. Accessibility goes hand in hand with transparency and accountability. We will create forums and dialogues between Federation and the community, ensuring that every voice is heard. This means engaging with funds, local clubs and regional associations in a meaningful way. We will also utilize technology to streamline communication, ensuring that information flows freely and efficiently. Never again shall we catch people by surprise regarding major decisions affecting our football. So the people and all stakeholders must be involved in football decisions. Every responsible voice matters. The voices of stakeholders to be meaningful indeed. I pledge enhancing accessibility of information details of the federation's dealing so that every mind is expressed from an informed point of view. So my passion for football is normally grassroots. Grassroots football is the foundation of our sport. We must invest in youth programs and local clubs, nurturing talent from the ground up. You've seen the teams that have supported. I think they are here. They are playing in. It happens that they're in the Women Premier League. You've seen Lespade. There's Kisumu Starlets. They are all here. Those are grassroots football that they have been operating in Nyanza. My administration will develop strategic partnership with schools, community organization, and provide training resources and facilities for young players. We will launch a nationwide grassroots initiative that only focus on skill development, but also instilling values such as teamwork, discipline, and respect. Every child in Kenya, regardless of their background, should have the opportunity to play the game they love. By doing this, we will uncover the hidden talents in every part of the country. The winner, how about Lamu producing Champions League winner, or a boy from Pokot, all the way from Pokot, one day is skippering for Harambee Stars in the World Cup. I think the journalists who are here and the ones speaking, you've known what has been going on in Harambee Stars selection. It's normally done on cronyism because the people involved want to sell players. If you are the head, you own your football administrator, you give preferences to your team in Kenya Premier League so that they can be sold. So this is why we are emphasizing that everybody in Kenya all players in Kenya must be given opportunity to play in the National League. Ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, I admit to you, our potential stars and everywhere, it is our duty to find them wherever they are. Growth of women football, which is my passion, it is not just a responsibility, it is an opportunity for us to create a more inclusive, vibrant football culture. And you can now know that the women football that we started when I was elected in 2013, which Arocho always disagrees, when I was elected, for the first time they are now playing World Cup in Dominican Republic. They have made Kenya proud, and the two teams the two clubs that I have there, some of their players are playing now in Dominican Republic. So it's a good thing for Kenya. This means increasing funding for women leagues, enhancing feasibility through media partnership, and providing equal opportunity for women coaches and referees. We will launch campaigns to inspire young girls to pursue football, ensuring that they have same opportunity to excel as their male counterparts. Importantly, we must acknowledge the immense potential in our women football. The junior starlets are currently in Dominican Republic preparing a debut in FIFA World Cup, a remarkable milestone to elevate the standards of our leagues. You can see the leagues are really down and there's no oomph in it. They're just stagnant, and you could see even the top clubs that were participating in the championship. They were playing with the Lal, and Gor was playing with the Lal, and Police FC was playing with Zamalek. and you saw they could not even make it. They played here, home and away, and they couldn't make it because the teams there now have very high skills, and they are very high up. And some time back, you could see Gor beating Zamalek here. I think in the 80s or 90s, but now they can't, because Zamalek and Alila are technically a bit higher. So my vision includes establishing clear guidelines for football management, financial sustainability, and players' contracts. I will release the management of the leagues from the federation, and this is what I've been standing for. Leagues in the federation must be able to run on their own, as one of my friends stated here from Kisumu. FKF is just a regulator, but I stand for the leagues running on their own, starting from Premier League, NSL, and the lower leagues. They must have a management system that is accountable, in that if there are issues, you can pinpoint. So federation can just be a regulator, but not to run these leagues. So I'm a strong proponent for leagues standing on their own and regulating themselves. This I promise to prioritize, as it is a proven good practice of all over the world where football is thriving. FKF must be a regulator, not a micromanager in our leagues. In doing so, ladies and gentlemen, we will work towards creating a competitive environment that not only attracts local talent, but also international players. By enhancing our leagues, we can provide a platform for our players to shine and for our clubs to thrive, building strong base for our national teams. If we can answer the question of our league quality, we will have automatically answered the question of our national teams. Yes, we can become AFCON, WAFCON, and World Cup regulars. Another pillar I'm running for is welfare of players. Normally we just talk about leagues. Players are the integral part of why FKF is formed. Players are very important because without players there will be no football. I will advocate for their wages and comprehensive health insurance and support system for players, referees and coaches. This includes mental and health resources, career development programs and retirement plans. You've seen most of our legends nowadays, they just run around, they're just called to be paraded, and there's no welfare system because they are played for the country and they are played for various leagues. Yet this is still a problem, that after they finish playing, there's no mechanism to make sure that their welfare is taken care of. Our players give their all on the pitch. It is our responsibility to ensure they are supported off the pitch. We will prioritize the needs and rights of all football professionals. My administration will seek to have more attention on players and not the officials. I'm presenting to you, ladies and gentlemen, a choice of shifting the conversation from politics of the game to the game itself. And it is the players. Effective governance and management. I will implement independent and functional committees to oversee the day-to-day activities of the Federation. Each committee will focus on key areas, such as youth development, women football, which we have talked about, grassroots initiative, that is bringing partnership with the schools, because schools now form an integral part of football development, by infusing their curriculum so that we can build a proper football management from grassroots. Key areas such as youth development, women football, grassroots initiative, and professional leagues. These committees will operate with autonomy and accountability, allowing us to respond swiftly and effectively to the needs of our football community. Together we will foster a culture of collaboration and innovation. The committees will never be entities of securing interest of the boss. They will not be micromanaged the way they are now being done. Case where Shabana was playing in Kisii. Shabana is a team that comes from my area. And the referees were recalled by the federation when the funds had already been there. Those are the things that we want to stop permanently when elected. That's why we propose that leagues even refereeing, they must be independent in their decisions, and they should not be controlled by federation, even though they are properties of federation, but they must work independently. Together, we will foster a culture of collaboration and innovation. The committees will never be entities, as I said, securing interests of the boss. In any case, there will be no boss. I will just be first among equals, a servant leader. In the spirit of collaborative leadership, I present to you that hakuna kulia na Alila. Asanteni sana. I think I'll give the members of the fourth estate, if they can have questions to ask, I'll be ready to answer. So I think, actually they were the important people in my audience today. I didn't expect many people, but my guests were the press, so that they can take these things, they can now report properly on what I stand for and my candidates are just starting. And we still have also some issues that we need to sort out first because of this electoral board. So we are talking among ourselves, and very soon I should be able to unveil my running mate.
Thank you. I think Fred has asked the question I wanted to ask first, but secondly is to ask that you have been heard in media several talking about the electoral board, and the question is,
you need to introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Jacob Isia from Royal Media Services. So I'm asking, so far, because an election is as good as a process, are you comfortable with the electoral board and the electoral code as you prepare to present your papers?
Personally, I'm not comfortable because of some issues that have arisen, and we are going to deal with them. First of all, the electoral board must be members of FKF. They should be members of FKF, and when they were appointed, I think there was a procedure which was not followed well. They should have been able to unveil the sports, what we call the committee, arbitration committee, that should be sorting out issues. So we asked for a meeting with the board, but we also seeking legal redress for this matter to be sorted out once and for all on issues of eligibility of this board. Yeah.
Who else has a question? And kindly, when you ask a question, come to the front here, because we are live streaming, and it would be unfair for them to turn the camera for football or sports as a whole in this country. We must have a session with them so that we can be working together. You can see, when Harambee Stars is stuck, they go to the government. But when you want to do proper elections, they say that we must follow FIFA rules. So those are the things that we are going to work on, and also to synchronize this Sports Act so that it can be in tandem with this, our federation. It's a priority. That's why it's bringing a lot of, there's a lot of misunderstanding between the FKF constitution and the Sports Act. This must be done quickly so that leagues can run smoothly. Next question, please come to the front here. And feel free to ask anything, because it's you'll be watching TV in the future and you'll have streamlined things, as he has said.
Good morning. Congratulations for launching your bid. My name is Greg Mulemi from Radio Africa Now. I have two questions. First of all is in regards to the leagues and competitions, where we've seen during your time there was the league was being run by the Kenya Premier League Limited, which was completely independent from the federation, and also the Women Premier League. All of them are centered. You as the candidate who wants to be the next president for the federation, what are you going to do? Because we've seen so many things happen with the league being mismanaged, and so many cases like you pointed out 1 or 2 weeks ago. I know it's something you've talked about extensively on the Jambo last week. I heard you talk about it. But right now we are talking about having the right systems. What are you going to do to ensure that we have a league that is running independently and the one that is free for everyone to enjoy and express themselves, and instead of them being centered at one place whereby there's a lot of confusion?
Yeah, as I said in my speech, what I'm running on, I'm a strong believer for leagues to be independent. As I said, federation is just there to regulate, but entirely the leagues must run according to, they need to be sorting themselves out. As a leader, you're just supposed to make sure that the committees which are put in place are working. So the leagues, if I'm elected, they will run on their own, but with the regulations from FKF.
Anyone else with a question? As it comes, maybe you can touch on the stadium situation in the country. We have all these Kamaru Stadium and that stadium spending X amount of money to build, but you cannot use them for even a local match.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'll be able to do about that?
I think, in next year, February, we are going to have CHAN competition, which is a very big tournament. It's a precursor for the African Cup of Nations, which Kenya and Tanzania and Uganda have bid for jointly. So I think the stadiums are being done. The competition will be in Nairobi, that is Kasarani, Nyayo Stadium, and Eldoret. So the facilities, as I know now, are being upgraded. That's why even the match for Kenya and Cameroon is going to be played in Uganda. So let's wait and see. They are now going to be built according to FIFA and CAF standards.
Congrats. I hope hautalia mwisho. Nasema hakuna kulia.
Hakuna kulia na Alila.
Sasa tuone. Tusione ukilia. And so, when talking about kulia, my question is centered around the electoral rules. One, are you eligible? Secondly, around there, you look at the way those things they talk about endorsements in when you are trying to for those candidates, like especially from the grassroots going up, you find that do you think or don't you think that they can also be used to lock out some other people so that they cannot, so that some candidates give one? Then the last one is about submit his candidature, and this is the third term. Only that. Thank you.
You are coming from where? You should have introduced yourself.
Sorry.
Which sports?
I'm Wepukulu.
Wepukulu is a seasoned journalist.
A leading sports practitioner in the city.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To answer your question, I'm eligible. I don't think eligibility is an issue for me. I was elected as a NEC member in 2014, representing Nyanza. And even last year, the other election I participated. So as I told you that the SGM convocation, they are using, to answer your question, the regulations, FIFA Standard Electoral Code, if you have seen that section A, that is article number 3, as a seasoned journalist, none of the board members, according to that FIFA statute, none of those board members are members of FKF Association. So that those are the issues that we are going to raise very soon. In fact, we are putting a case at STD over this matter because there's a lot of games going on. And you know, Article 4 of the FIFA statutes, if you know, the violation of Section 1 of Standard Electoral Code for FIFA. The current appeals board was not elected. You know, when this game, they should have brought them and said that these are the people who are going to be in the appeals board. And they should have done this at the General Assembly, which was not done. That shows you what Arocho was talking about, mischief. And then the other one is the violation of that same Section 3. The committee was elected on 24th August and cannot purport to do an election by 7th December. It's a complete violation of the laws, of FIFA statute. Are now locked out because of these rules. So I think I've answered your question correctly.
All right.
Sorry? Nick Mwendo's candidature. The FKF constitutions allow that he can run for another post but not the post that he held before. So within the FKF constitution, is allowed. He can run as vice president, he can run as a chairman of a county. All those he can run, but not the one he served. So if he wants to run in any other position, is allowed. But we have the Sports Act, which shows that which says that if you have done 2 terms, you cannot. So those are the controversies that we are having with Sports Act and vis-a-vis the FKF constitution. Because the minister says that if you have done 2 terms according to the Sports Act, you are not supposed to run. And also the eligibility issues also comes in. Because the Sports Act has elaborated the eligibility criteria for all candidates that are supposed to run. So those are the issues that we are going to deal with this week. Yeah.
My name is Tony Kwalanda from TV47, and congratulations, Bwana Tom Alila, for your candidature in the presidential elections of FKF. Of course, you've answered my one question about the FKF constitution. I don't know, you've not delved into it much deeper. Will you be looking to do any changes to it? Or do you need any review to it or anything about it now that you're saying that there are things that need to be changed to that? Another one is, what role does in terms of player, when we talk about player welfare, in terms of player, you know clearly well, he might not want to relinquish power. He might use other people to still stay in power. How will you take the outcome of this election in case you are not elected as president? Thank you.
So I'll start with the last one. I've said here that there are issues that has come up that we are going to deal with on how the election process is supposed to be done. We are going to work on it because there's an illegal board that has been put in place, and we are going to invoke these articles in the FIFA standard election code. So I think that answers your question. On how the leagues, what was the second question again?
I asked about the player welfare.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've said in my speech here that one of the pillars I'm running on players is players' welfare. I think the federation has not done so much on issues of players' welfare, and it's a big problem that when I'm elected, I'll put it as a priority for me to tackle. On issues of player transfers and all that, there's been an issue. You find this Harambee Stars coach, which nobody has seen his contract. I think his main aim is to be selling players, and then it interferes with all the players in the top tier league. So that's why I was saying cronyism in football. You find that the president owns a club, so their main aim is to be selling those players. They give them platform in Harambee Stars, and they are sold. So those are the issues that, if elected, we'll have to streamline in issues of players licensing and also Harambee Stars. Actually, my main aim is to, in our discussion with the government, even though Harambee Stars is part of the property of FKF, but its management now, in terms of national assignment, should be now relinquished to the government, because it's now a national team. In terms of how they move, where they go, and I think the government has done some good work now. You can see the women team are in Dominican Republic, and we have not had any issues of transport and all that. On it, and we've not had any issues at all. The boys, I think, they're okay now. There are no problems, which kept on coming up all the time. So when elected, we will streamline this to be more smoother, working with the government to ensure that government put a lot of funds in sports so that these activities can run smoothly.
Congratulations, Mr. Alila, for your decision to run for president. I have 2 questions. The first one is, under the previous regime, of course, you were a NEC member, Nyanza region. What progressive things during that regime do you feel were taken away by the current regime? You feel you can reinstate, if you feel they can push the Kenyan football forward? And also, as someone who advocates for community clubs, of course right now we've seen clubs like AFC Leopards now in the process of trying to go corporate. We've seen even countries like Tanzania, we've seen other community clubs like Simba and Yanga are now trying to go corporate, and you can see it's helped their football grow. Will you advocate for modernization of such clubs? And if they do so, do you think it is something you're going to advocate for in order to help the country's football grow? Thank you.
Yeah, to answer the first question, we have been having a lot of issues on how club management are done. Like the issue you have raised with these community clubs. I propose strongly that these community clubs must have a corporate background for them to attract sponsorship. There's no corporate sponsor who can sponsor just a team like that without accountability. And when they have shareholders and they are corporate, it's easier for them to be dealt with. I think Tanzania has done that with Yanga, and you can see Simba. Most leagues in Tanzania are having corporate sponsorship. And that's what we are going to advocate to make sure that it is done. But it needs a deeper discussions with the fans and how they can attract, they can accept this. It's been a very rigid issue when it comes to making this clubs corporate. Because Gor Mahia, FC Leopard and Shabana, they're the ones who attract a lot of followers and a lot of fans. And if they are streamlined to having corporate nature, then even the corporates will have, it's a quid pro quo issues, which means that the companies get value in terms of membership on how many they are, and it will be able to uplift these clubs. So if I'm elected, I'll be having that discussions with the clubs. I know Gor Mahia has started, they're in the process of making Gor Mahia a limited company. AFC is doing the same. But you know, most now, the other ones who are playing in top tier leagues, they normally don't have followers. I think for KCB, Arocho is the only fan that follows KCB. So we will make sure that they have proper structures that can attract sponsorship. If elected, I'll be having that discussion with them.
You know, we have a vote in KCB, so be very careful.
Sorry?
While you were NEC...
yeah, while I was elected in NEC Nyanza, I had 5 teams that were in Kenya Premier League. That is Moroni, there was Sony Sugar, there was Agrochemicals, there was Chemelil FC, Moroni Youth. But when this federation took over, I think now the only club that we have that is coming from where I come from is Shabana. I cannot name Gor Mahia because Gor Mahia is top there. It's Shabana FC. So you can see that in the administration, they've really not done well where football is played, mostly in Western and Nyanza. Even though we have in the second tier league, the women football, which my friends are playing in the women football league. I think we have 4 or 5 teams playing there. So that is the thing that they didn't do properly. There's been a lot of chronism in the game, where they just support clubs which are belonging to their friends. But this must stop. The way I said that in my leadership, FKF is a regulator. I'll just be overseeing the programs that should be run, because CAF and FIFA has given us an elaborate programs on how to run clubs, on how to develop soccer, and they put money in it to run coaching and even issues of refereeing. You've seen that we have a problem with match fixing in this country, and you've been seeing the way teams are suffering because referees are not properly remunerated, and they keep on going back and forth. Because if we can sort issues of referee, then the leagues can have what I said, they will have value. So we'll stop these other people from watching these foreign leagues. But we also have a program of even bringing the fans back to watch football. When the leagues are now alive and kicking, most fans will now be coming to watch the game. So if elected, those are the issues that I will deal with decisively.
Thank you.
Oh,
good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, my name is Jack Kimadi. I don't come from any media house. I'm just a fan of football, and then a friend to Tom Alila. Tom, I have 3 questions. First of all, let me congratulate you and wish you the very best. I know that you're a man of strategy, and you're going to take FKF to another level. I have 3 questions that I want to ask. One is issues to do with training and discipline. We have seen a lot of players who are disciplined within the football clubs, and by extension, they are fans. We have seen a lot of property destruction, people fighting, and so many other things that are associated with football. What are you going to do about them? Does the federation have rules and ways to regulate the discipline and the training of the football practitioners? The second question is in relation to, we export so many footballers, and by extension there is something that is called a sport diplomacy, whereby someone who is goes to play from outside country, then he brings something in exchange, and the FKF may not be, maybe like have proper regulations on how to export players outside. But when they go out there, is there anything that they bring in return to FKF in terms of skills, in terms of donations or something like that? And if they go then, what is it that the FKF has to do so that when these guys come back home, they have a good contribution to the local clubs that we have? Finally, I heard you very well discussing about how you are going Mpira Mashinani. And someone has asked about the stadiums. You know, clearly some of the schools that some of us we studied in, even a football pitch we don't have. Are you going to team up with the county government to improve the quality of these football pitches, or what are you going to do to make sure that you'll be able actually to bring this talent and nurture it to the national level? Thank you so much.
To answer the first question, the way now the federation is composed is hygienic. So the first thing that when elected is to bring the hygiene. Then all these issues that you have raised will follow. Football development must start from grassroots, as I have said. We have schools, you can see secondary schools, sports when they are done, they bring a lot of funds, and most of the funds own these teams that play in secondary schools. And that is one of the base for football development in Mashinani. So I'm running on that pillar. And once elected, we will streamline all that, plus the issues of, because the issues of professional football for the players playing in different teams. They need to play and have a professional side on it. And then they need to graduate to probably go outside. But there's a processes that they go through in this development. So when once elected, all those questions that you're asking, we will deal with them. Yeah. We must have hygiene first, and then we can now move. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your questions. The banners shows here, Tom Alila on Facebook, Alila Tom on Instagram, Tom_Alila on X. If you have any other further questions, because we've subjected him to too much sunlight now, you can talk to him further. He has spoken articulately about all he stands for. That is accountability, Mpira Mashinani, players' welfare, and a growth for the future of the sport. Maybe some closing remarks.
I'm just, I invite you to join the journey of building the federation that understands the values, the role of every stakeholder in fixing football in this country and its future. I, Tom Alila, ask for your support and trust and commitment as we embark on this journey together. I solemnly promise hakuna kulia na Alila in our Kenya football. Let's take football in Kenya to a new height. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hakuna kulia? Hakuna kulia? Thank you very much for coming through. If you're still hungry, let's see some bitings. We look forward to your continued support in the journey to making Tom Alila the FKL president. Good afternoon. DJ. We have a photo shoot over here.
So we can take the photos
at the banner here.
Ngoja nisalimie wife yangu Alila.
How was it?
It was nice.
Boloso! So you want to? Yeah. Leo nilikuwa na unveil my presidency for FKF launching, which who have been putting in limbo that Tom has not launched, but today I've done it. So vitu zingine nimesema kwa manifesto yangu ni namba moja ni players welfare, kurudisha mpira mashinani, kuwa na hygiene kwa federation na kuwa na relationship na serikali so that we can support them, support more funds. Kwanza nataka kuongeza wakina dada saizi wako Dominican Republic. Nilikuwa nimeelektiwa, tulianza hii program ya women football na still tuliingia naye, lakini now it has progressed. I think sometimes it's good to give federation ways you have moved up, and for the first time now Kenya is playing the done as well, they're playing advantage. Lakini changamoto nilikuwa naye women football ikuwe na sawa na men. Lazima wakuwe na same responsibility, same emolument na support in terms of training and management. Women football is very big, and umeona it is easier for them to go to World Cup because of the commitment kwa sababu tumeona kama FKF wana run league wanakuanga na shida. Kama wao wenyewe wana run league vile kulikuwa na Kenya Premier League, unaweza kupoint makosa ikitokea, na zile committees wameweka zinatakana ifanye kazi. Sasa FKF president, you're just supposed to oversee. Huwezi kuweka federation ni regulator. Kama kuna makosa tunaitatua, but federation cannot be involved even though ni property zao. They should delink them so that they can run, the leagues can run smoothly in terms of match fixing, in terms of remuneration of referees and development of coaching and all that, which Kenya has really done a lot. I mean, in this regime you've seen class A, B, C, D coaches, but where are they? What do they do for football development? Hakuna. So the federation is supposed to streamline hizi maneno na hizi program, because CAF has given us what we need to do in football development and FIFA. We must follow them. Hakuna new thing that we're going to invent. It only needs leadership. Tumeuliza mkutano na hii election na we are not tuko sawa vile ilikuwa imeformulated. Wali bypass a lot of processes ndio waweke, kwa sababu walikuwa ina hurry, and that's all they do. Nikielektiwa lazima we review hii constitution so that we can give more players more right to be voting the people, because players are they form the core of football in this country. It's not these big bosses we elect that they come from 47 counties. and yet at the base where football is played, there is none. So we will go for constitutional review so that players have more weight and more right to be choosing leaders if elected. The election board was elected, but they illegally in office. And tomorrow we have a case that we are filing on these issues of regulation that are stipulated there. Hii maneno ya appeals committee should have been unveiled at the SGM, which they didn't do. Appeals board cannot be the one the federation has. It has to be unveiled for the contestants to know. And it should be unveiled in that SGM. But apparently those who were there didn't raise this issue. It became an unanimous issue because it was being pushed very quickly. And this issue at FIFA says that we must do election in December. I don't agree with it. We will go by their rules, the courts that have mentioned there. That election needs 6 months preparation, at least 4 or 5 for this law. So those are the things that we are going to ask SDT to sort out once and for all. And we are contesting on the issue of the date for elections. With this short time, it cannot happen. There will be no free and fair election if we don't deal with these irregularities that happen in composing this law. It is a complete norm. Even they have deviated from the own FIFA code of elections by just trying to lock out some other people. This 2-year rule is going to lock some contents that they cannot buy because it is stated in that code that you must have been in active football for at least 2 years. So even if I join Murangasi and if this board wants to start calculating, then definitely the person is not qualified to run. And issues of campaigns, is a big issue that needs to have been sorted out. But these differences we have with the election, the sports act, need to be synchronized to sort out this matter. So we are not happy. That's why we are going to SDT before the final list comes out. In a couple of days after we sort out these issues that I'm raising to the board, we are talking. Right now we have unveiled, we are now open to talk. We will be able to sit down with the aspirants and agree. We cannot have 15, 20 people running, even though it's their right, but we need to have one common force. You can see the monkey business the federation has started by saying that they want to change again both sides and all that, and issues of eligibility. So we cannot just go for elections. We must put in regulations that will give free, fair and accountable results.
And in your opinion, do you think it is right for their report suggesting the fact that the current incumbent, if he's not eligible to run for the next elections, will still want to stay in the seat in maybe another
I think the way the board is composed, they are going to allow him to run in another position. Yeah, but not...
But do you think it's right? Do you think it's...
In the constitution, it is provided for that if you can run for any other post in the FKF constitution. But in the Sports Act, it's expressed, it states that if you have done 2 terms, you go home. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So simemaliza.